I'm Jack Kennedy, and we're here to bring you the latest in MMA.
Hey everybody, my name's Hunter Boss, and what the boss says goes.
What is up everyone, my name is Keelan McNamara, and you already know what time it is.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MMA Island Podcast. I am Jack Kennedy alongside Keelan McNamara and Hunter Boss. Let's get started with the news. Today we are talking about Jose Aldo beating Rob Font. First off, we knew the fight night was going to be good because it was a good fight, but we needed that. How refreshing was it to have that good of a fight night? I loved it. Jose Aldo, somehow, an ageless wonder in the UFC, beats Rob Font. Hunter, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the fight night and all, amazing. Start to finish. I watched from early prelims to the main event.
Yep.
A lot of fun that day. That's all I'm saying. But the main event itself, I feel like Keelan and I both saw what was going to happen before it happened when we made our Aldo calls. Because when I went back and reviewed the Cody Garbrandt versus Rob Font fight, I feel like we saw the same holes in the game of Rob Font that Aldo saw, and he took advantage of that. So Aldo did a fantastic job of punishing the body whenever he had a high guard. And when he started lowering the high guard, he would pop shots in the middle and around. Aldo looked like prime Aldo again, which is the bottom state scenario. You know, this is the real deal. This is what we saw from this fight. Aldo is still the real deal. You know, he's maybe 34, 35, 36, whatever. And I know it felt like he's been in the UFC for years upon years because he has been, but he's still sharp. He's still really good. He's one title fight, maybe two title fight, or one fight, maybe two fights away from a title shot. But in all we can say is Aldo's doing fantastic, and I'm so happy to see Aldo winning again.
Yeah, I think Hunter's just summed that up really, really, really well. I don't blame anybody for predicting Rob Font to win because Rob Font's an excellent bantamweight. I just think you're right. We could see what Aldo was going to exploit, and we knew he was more than good enough to do it. And that's exactly what he did. It's not like it was a shock or, anybody majorly disagreed with it. It's what we thought would happen, and it did. I have to say, Jose Aldo, he truly is the ageless wonder, and he just continues to impress me more and more every time that I see him. Most fighters, as they get older, they go up in weight and they get smothered by fighters bigger than them. Jose Aldo maintains the commitment to go down 10 pounds in weight, and he's experiencing a career resurgence in a division full of sharks. I think it's absolutely fantastic. As for the performance itself, just vintage Aldo, and that warms my heart to see because I love vintage Jose Aldo. Like Hunter said, peppered the body until the high guard came down. When it came down, that snapping jab and that cracking cross from Aldo just repeated 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And we saw Rob Font's eye after the fight as the evidence for what you need to know. Very, very nasty swelling right eye from that jab and from that hook. It was just vintage textbook Jose Aldo, and he looks brilliant in executing it. Credit to Rob Font. He's one tough SOB. We knew that already, but he stuck in that fight very well, and he deserves a lot of credit for making it to the end. But the 50, 45, 49, 46 scorecards tell you how good Jose Aldo was. And again, Hunter is absolutely correct. He is only one or two more fights away from a title shot. I think if he beats TJ Dillashaw, which is the fight to make for both of those men, I say give Jose Aldo another crack because I think he deserves it. Either way, huge congratulations to the King of Rio. You continue to amaze once again.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'd have to at that point. You'd be on a 5-fight win streak if he beats TJ Dillashaw and beat the top guy, really, because he beat Sandhagen before. We don't know where Aljamain Sterling will fit into this picture, assuming he loses to Petr Yan. But look, Jose Aldo is insane. I did not see this coming. So obviously I picked Rob Font, and I am very secure in that pick, even following the event, because I was so sure with how good Rob Font had been looking. And he's on a 3-fight win streak previous to this, and just come off of dominating Cody Garbrandt, who beforehand, Cody Garbrandt looks like he's back. Look, Rob Font is a machine, and I honestly thought Rob Font fought how he needed to fight the fight, like the constant pressure and everything like that. But Jose Aldo is carrying that 145 power down at the 135 weight class, and it's just like, I mean, I love Rob Font, but I was going for Jose Aldo. How could you not? It's Jose Aldo, and he's making a career resurgence at 135 and beating the top contenders. It's unreal. It's unbelievable to see, and I am here for it. I love it. My analysis of it, I think Aldo, honestly, the only round he really, obviously he won every single round. I agree with 50-45 more than I do 49-46 because he got the drop at the end of the round one. But Aldo was banking off of the drops. The only round he completely dominated start to finish was round 3. And you know why? He mixed in the leg kicks. If Jose Aldo can bring back his leg kicks like he did in that third round, look, Rob Font was barely able to walk based off of one round of leg kicks with maybe 5 or 6 that landed. If Aldo is able to take his new boxing style, which he trains with the Brazilian Navy SEALs to help create and develop, which is unbelievable. That's the best I've seen his boxing in forever, and mix in those leg kicks, I'm telling you, that could be the X factor of Jose Aldo, which brings him to that next level. He's going to need that for that fight against TJ Dillashaw to limit his mobility. And we saw how absolutely devastating they were in just one round. He dropped Font twice with leg kicks in one round. If Aldo's corner can tell him, prioritize boxing and leg kicks, Jose Aldo, I'm telling you, could be a real threat at 135. He is a real threat at 135 right now. But if he can bring in the leg kicks, I think he really could have finished Font if he continued with the leg kicks and the boxing together, but he started going for the power and started gassing a little bit. I'm telling you, I think that just is the final step. Bring back the vintage Jose Aldo leg kicks plus this new style to completely round off Jose Aldo. And then I think we're looking at a championship level fighter at 135. And that's very exciting to look at. Yeah, overall analysis, just fantastic fight by Aldo. Rob Font will be back. I love how he handles the loss. Most people at 135, whenever they lose, are very stand up and handle it how I think they should handle it. Sandhagen was the same way, just lost to the better man. And that's the truth. He lost to Jose Aldo, who is far and away one of the best fighters to ever do it in the company's history. And he's still doing it today, which is unbelievable. So transitioning off of that, let's talk about some of the best fighters currently for the best of the best. And we're talking Mount Rushmore. We've done multiple Mount Rushmores before, but this one we're talking about current UFC MMA fighters. Hunter, what's your current Mount Rushmore?
My current Mount Rushmore. All right. So the angle I took it at is not necessarily the best of the best in the UFC currently.
Oh no.
But it is the it's on. They're not bad picks. I guarantee you guys will agree with them and you'll like them. But I picked the fighters who I thought are the most popular right now. / best of the best. So
starting off Sean O'Malley.
No, he's not on the list this time. All right.
That's what I was waiting for.
Crackdown. This is a serious one. First one is Israel Adesanya. I think Israel Adesanya has brought in a new age to the UFC and has brought in so many different fans along with it. So I think Adesanya has to be on the Mount Rushmore of current fighters there. I also put up Holloway. Max Holloway. I know he's not the champion currently, but everyone still rallies behind him as if he is. Yeah. So with his following and his skill set and how he's still breaking records, it's hard to not put Max Holloway on this list. Along with the man who beat him, Dustin Poirier. I think Dustin Poirier has a spot on this list because of the amount of times and the amount of instances he's had with the former UFC star boy, Conor McGregor. I mean, Dustin Poirier's gone into the lightweight division, has basically beaten the best of the best. He fights only the best, and he goes on and he beats McGregor twice in the last 2 year or year and a half. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to not put Poirier on this list. So Dustin Poirier on this list. And finally, last but not least, it is the Nigerian nightmare. It is Kamaru Usman. Currently, he's the pound for pound king. He's been doing an amazing job at welterweight. It seems like he is cleaning out the top 5 and they're getting into scraps currently. And in no time, we're going to see the emergence of Usman and the domination of some George St. Pierre type of domination in the welterweight division.
Hunter, that's a great list. That's a great Mount Rushmore. You actually have 50% of my picks. 50% of them you don't have.
I told you I wasn't slacking on this one, boys. I told you. All right, this is a
I
good one.
You came to play on this one. I like it. I like it.
I actually think you're going to like where I'm going with this as well, because this is overall MMA fighters, not just the UFC. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
So let's start off with where me and Hunter do agree. This might not be much of a surprise, but we have Max Holloway in there. You know, he holds every striking record that there is at this point. He's teaching people how to defend his own striking. I mean, what more can you say? The guy is arguably the greatest featherweight of all time, beat a legend at Jose Aldo twice and finished him twice, as we discussed on the last episode, which is very worth noting at this point. Then we have Kamaru Usman, no real surprise. Statistically, extremely possible he will become the greatest welterweight of all time. We could probably even see that in 2022. So based on the statistics and the dominance alone, he is worthy of being on this Mount Rushmore. And now let's divert to where me and Hunter are thinking very differently. My third spot goes to the man who beat Rob Font. It's Jose Aldo.
Wow. Okay.
And, you know, I think Jose Aldo's merits stack up very much on their own weight. I don't think I need to justify him being here, but I'll rattle off a few statistics just that people don't really realize. Featherweight champion for nearly a decade. One of the main links from the WEC to the UFC, beat the likes of Uriah Faber, Chad Mendes, and so many others that I can't even recall all of them at this point, but there were a lot. One of the most dominant fighters we've ever seen, one of the most brilliant fighters we've ever seen, probably the most brutal leg kicks we've ever seen. In fact, Jack, if you can Photoshop this in, it's all right if you can't, but if you can, Photoshop in some pictures of Uriah Faber's leg after their fight, and that will tell you.
I don't think I'm going to do that actually. All right, that's a search up. Right there. That's a search up on your own kind of thing. All right.
Yeah, that's an NSFW type business here. But let me put it this way: it was not pretty. So Jose Aldo is my number 3. I think he gets far too overlooked in Mount Rushmore discussions personally. And the fact that he's still going, even beating guys like Rob Font, it just adds to the legend. And I'm so happy to see it. And now my number 4. This is where the real X Factor pick is. And I think you're going to be very surprised by where I'm going. It's Fedor Emelianenko.
Wow. Okay. So you went more for legacy here. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's very important on a Mount Rushmore to combine currency with legacy. And I think in someone like Fedor, you've got a very good mix of both of those qualities. I mean, his last win admittedly was against Tim Johnson in Moscow, which is never going to be the most dangerous fight he'll ever fight. But he knocked him out in the first round and he's over 40, so he deserves credit on that alone.
And Tim Johnson was just fighting for the Bellator interim heavyweight title before that fight. So Tim Johnson is not a slouch. So
exactly, yeah. I mean, he's not cherry picking bums either. So he really is fighting the best that he can fight at this point. Look, there's a very strong argument, depending on your MMA opinions and philosophy, that Fedor Emelianenko is the greatest heavyweight of all time. There's a lot to back that up. I'm not going to stand in the way of that argument. In fact, I think Fedor is really the man who introduced the modern style of heavyweight. I give a lot of credit to Cain Velasquez, but it was really Fedor that started that trend of very slightly smaller, more mobile, agile heavyweights, which we'd never even thought of up until that point. And, is the era and pride and Bellator and everything else. I mean, I could go on and on and on for hours about Fedor Emelianenko, but I think he's worthy of being on this list, if nothing else, but for the fact that he's a very different but justifiable pick. So that's my Mount Rushmore. We have Jose Aldo, we have Max Holloway, the Nigerian nightmare Kamaru Usman, and the Emperor himself, Fedor Emelianenko.
I love that. And I love how you're mixing in that. So it's very fascinating how we all took different approaches to making this list. Hunter went more for most popular kind of fighters right now, most impactful fighters. You went for more combining greatness overall with current, how they're doing currently. And I went more for my top 4 best fighters on the active roster today is how I did my list. So I'm very fascinated and I love it because we all have different lists here. I actually only have one in common with both of you guys, but I don't think you will disagree with my list at all. Starting off, I'm showing the ladies some love, starting with Valentina Shevchenko there. at the bottom of my list, and then following that is Amanda Nunes at 3. Both of them are just completely dominating everything. One, Amanda Nunes is the GOAT for women's MMA. It's not even close. Shevchenko is right below her, and depending on how you agree with some of the decisions, disagree, she is right there equally with Amanda Nunes. I mean, they're both just absolutely dominant. Every single time you see their name on the list for who they're going to fight, it's just like, wow, how are they going to finish it this time? It's unbelievable. Their greatness is ridiculous, and that's why I have at 4, I have Shevchenko, and then 3, Nunes. No matter how you feel those fights went, Nunes did technically get the win, so that's why I have Nunes, Shevchenko. Now, here's where it gets interesting. At my number 2 spot, and I really think he is probably the second best active fighter right now, is Petr Yan.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, all right.
I almost put Yan on my list. I was really close.
Yeah. After that Sandhagen fight, especially, Corey Sandhagen is a destroyer, and if it was any other era in UFC history, probably would be the champion right now. But Petr Yan is an animal. He probably has the current best. Even Dustin Poirier is saying he's probably the best boxer in the UFC currently, which it's hard to disagree with that. His fighting style, and this is wild to say, and this actually probably backs up why he should be on your list, but Jose Aldo is the toughest test of Petr Yan's career up to this point. And that's saying something. Petr Yan has dominated every single opponent he has faced. He's not the current undisputed champion right now, but anyone who's not living under a rock knows why he probably is. He is the best bantamweight on the planet right now. He keeps going out there, putting on phenomenal performances. And my whole mindset, and I say this over and over again, I won't bet against him until I see someone can actually challenge Petr Yan to the point where I think he will lose. And we have not seen that to this date, even against a guy as good as Corey Sandhagen, which is crazy. Now my number 1, Usman, it has to be. I mean, just what he's been doing in the UFC right now, thrashing people. I actually thought he was closer to being the welterweight GOAT until we did that episode. Now I think he still has a little bit to go. But the fact that he's even in that conversation is ridiculous, and he's knocking out everybody. He's finishing everybody. He's gone to Trevor Whitman, which is one of the smartest things I've ever seen someone do, because he has the wrestling base. Now he's going to the best striking coach going right now, and elevation. The dude is a beast, and he will continue to keep getting better like he's shown in every single one of his fights. They're exciting. Kamaru Usman, Nigerian Nightmare, number 1 current best fighter. And that wraps up my Mount Rushmore. I love it. Let's move on to the discussion of the week. And today we are talking about entertaining divisions. We have a very entertaining podcast going. Let's talk about entertaining divisions, right? What is the current best division in MMA? Probably the UFC. Hunter, what do you think?
I've been saying it for a few episodes now, and I'm going to stick with it. I did put some thought into this. Bantamweight. Bantamweight is the most entertaining division in the UFC currently. And the reason for that is that you don't have to watch a ranked bantamweight fight for it to be the best fight in the card. You know, we have seen time and time again that these bantamweights they have all the skills necessary. They have the speed. They obviously have the power. They're knocking people out again. They have the technique. It's just everything that you see out of the bantamweight division is so entertaining. And the people in it, I mean, we've talked about Petr Yan, but there's so many former world champions currently. We have Petr Yan in it. We have Jose Aldo. We have, Cody Garbrandt's moving down, but I will count Cody Garbrandt since he's still technically ranked as of next week. And then we have TJ Dillashaw. We got Aljamain Sterling, who's the current champion. We have Frankie Edgar. We have so many. What's up? Dominic Cruz. Well, how did I even forget Dominic Cruz? Yeah. We have Dominic Cruz, who's somehow ranked like number 10, I think.
Pedro Munoz.
And Pedro Munoz is definitely entertaining. That's for sure. Not a former champ, but yeah, these fighters are some of the most entertaining fighters that have ever lived, let alone just being able to all fight in the same weight division. I mean, we're about to see some star matches that we thought weren't even possible, where there's in talks of seeing Dominic Cruz versus Frankie Edgar. That talk would not have been even possible 5 years ago. We have talks of Jose Aldo versus freaking TJ Dillashaw. No one saw that coming 2 years ago, even when he got popped. I mean, talks of Henry Cejudo returning. Bantamweight is insane. I mean, it's going to be insane for a long time. So If there's any bantamweight cards that come up or any bantamweight fighters that you see are on a card, boom, you should watch that fight first.
I mean, there's 4 divisions I can make an argument for, which is just stupid on its own.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make a very bold prediction here because obviously we haven't heard what Jack said, but I think I know where Jack's going. And there's 3 arguments here, and these are 3 divisions separated by 20 pounds.
Yep.
And you can probably work out where I'm going with this. I'm going with lightweight. And, you know, what do I even have to say about lightweight anymore? It's just 2021 for me has been either the year of the bantamweights or the year of the lightweights, depending on your personal preference. And for me, every major fight at lightweight has been an absolute firecracker of a fight. Look at that Gaethje Chandler fight, for example. Those are the type of people in this division. I mean, it may not have as many former world champions in it, but it's a division full of monsters who want to rip each other's heads off every time they're in the octagon. I can't even believe I'm going to have to say this. If you somehow haven't seen Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, first of all, where have you been? Secondly, go and watch that because that's the greatest 15 minutes of your life you will ever spend watching a video. It is absolute lunacy from beginning to end. And that's just a snippet of the rabbit hole that is 155 pounds. Quite frankly, and I never like saying this because it's great to see the skill, but ever since Khabib retired, it's just been this gold rush, mad dash for the title. And it seems to have jumped between everybody ever since Khabib left. And it makes for a brilliant division. It really does. I mean, think about the fights that are coming up this Saturday, December 2021, if you're watching this later on. We have Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier, 2 of the best lightweights on planet Earth right now. We've got Beneil Dariush and Islam Makhachev, you know, the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object in January, or is it February 2022, to work out who's probably the second in line for the title. We then have Justin Gaethje fighting the winner of Oliveira Poirier for that belt. I mean, I think in 2021, this belt could change hands half a dozen times easily. And if that doesn't make for an insane division, I don't know what does.
Yes, and you stole my pick, Keelan. Of course, this is the problem with me going last every single time. Anyways, no, I love it. I'm going to talk about 145, but you got me excited about 155. I had all these points made for it and everything.
But yes, I want to hear them.
Look, I love it. Let me also start by saying, look, we just had Fiziev versus Brad Riddell, which are 2 very low-ranked lightweights, and look at how ridiculous that fight was and how many prospects were in that division. And then also, your main point, which is what I agree with, which is why I think 155 is the best division going right now, and the best time to be an MMA fan. It's the best division going right now. You don't know who's going to be the champion. And I love a dominant champion. It makes the sport exciting. It adds intrigue. Are they going to lose? But it's just even more exciting when every single fight, you legitimately don't know who's going to be the champion. Look, first off, Oliveira Poirier, I think we're all slightly leaning Poirier, but I wouldn't be surprised if Oliveira pulled that off. And if Poirier wins, whoever wins that fight, who's next in line? Justin Gaethje. That's way too far ahead to even think about who could potentially win that fight between Gaethje, Poirier again, or Gaethje, Oliveira. And then, okay, then who's next? You got Makhachev or Beneil Dariush crawling right up the door next after that. Who actually knows who is going to be the champion in this division? It's unreal. I love it. It's just pure madness. And it's also where all the storylines are as well with Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor, everything. All of the eyes are on 155. And all of the insanity is in 155 as well. So that would be my pick. However, let me also start by saying I love bantamweight. I think the best fights going right now are probably in bantamweight, which is why I love that pick. I'm going to talk about 145 because let's give that division some love. You can also give love to 170 as well, but you got Kamaru Usman up there, and that's just the ultimate write-off. It's like Khabib. Like 155 was amazing whenever Khabib was champ, but you know as soon as you get up there, it's done. And that's the way I feel 170 is right now. So let's talk 145. Look, you just had Volkanovski versus Ortega, which is one of the best featherweight title fights you will ever see in your entire life. Max Holloway's out there just destroying everybody, putting on Yair Rodriguez is back, and he's for real because he legitimately challenged Max Holloway and made it a very entertaining and close fight, as much as a Holloway fight can be close. Look, the entire division full of killers. You got Giga Chikadze in there, who's Edson Barbosa, Bryce Mitchell's in there. I think featherweight is the division of the prospects, and I think it is the division where maybe equal with bantamweight has just the most insane fights going right now, and I love it. So massive shout out to featherweight. I agree with Keelan on lightweight, and I mean honestly, I agree with Hunter too. Bantamweight is amazing. I love everything. I mean, it's not a better time to be an MMA fan than right now. We say this every podcast, but this year, seriously, I think 2021, and we'll do this in the end of the year review. I think it probably has been one of the best, if not the best years ever in MMA history. So, yeah, absolutely. Great podcast, guys. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at MMA.island and check out our website, MMAisland.net, as well as listen to us everywhere, including iTunes and Spotify. Great podcast, guys. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone, as always.